this amazing Congressman Lee Zeldin from New York. I think Irene Alter, from a member of our board of directors, is here to introduce Lee Zeldin. Thank you so much, Irene Alter, and a dear friend.
Hi, everyone. I'm Irene Alter, and I'm on the executive board of MET. My husband and I are from Long Island, where Lee represents the 1st Congressional District. As we like to think of him, he is our number one. We've known Lee since the beginning of his political career, and I'd like to highlight some of his achievements. I can also say that I really know Lee because I am sporting a beautiful Zeldin 2008 pin from his first run for Congress. Some of the highlights that we have: Lee is a stalwart champion of U.S.-Israeli friendship, bolstering its security and combating anti-Semitism at home and around the world. Here are some of the many highlights Lee Zeldin has accomplished since he's joined Congress. Leading the charge against the fatally flawed Iran nuclear deal, securing passage into law the Taylor Force Act to protect innocent Americans and Israelis from the Palestinian Authority's pay-to-slay program, which incites violence and financially rewards terror. Fighting the anti-Israel and anti-Semitic BDS movement, and leading the effort to combat anti-Semitism infiltrating U.S. politics, college campuses, and the halls of Congress. Championing Israel's inherent right to self-defense. Preserving Jewish American history by introducing the Protecting U.S. Heritage Abroad Act, strongly advocating for the formal recognition of Jerusalem as the eternal capital of Israel, demanding transparency of U.S. taxpayer dollars with the PA by securing declassification of UNRWA textbook reports. I take great pleasure and great pride in introducing to you Congressman Lee Zeldin.
My first trip that I took to Israel, we were at a place called Deck's Restaurant in Tiberias on the Sea of Galilee. I'm sure many of you have been there, and while we're having our dinner, the owner of the restaurant gets on the loudspeaker and she starts preaching her love for the U.S.-Israel relationship and how much she loves America, how much she loves Israel, talking about the strength of the bond between two great nations. And as she's doing this, interrupting everybody's dinner, a boat pulls in off the Sea of Galilee and starts blowing off fireworks. And then she starts playing God Bless America over the loudspeakers. And everybody stands up from their dinner and they start singing along. If they don't know the words, they're lip-syncing it. Some of the people who looked like locals afterwards introduced themselves as being from Brooklyn. It was a moment where I was thinking, where else in the world can you possibly go and have that happen in the middle of your dinner? And in the days and the weeks that followed, I thought to myself, there are many places in the United States of America where that wouldn't even happen. That first trip was incredibly moving and important for me in my life, the greatest trip that I've ever taken in my life. I'll tell you, it was also important because people kept asking me, had you ever been to Israel? And the best that I could come up with, because my whole New York Jewish family has made the pilgrimage down south, I was able to say no, but I've been to Boca. That only gets you so far. Eventually, you have to make this great pilgrimage, and I've had the opportunity to go back multiple times since for moments like Shimon Peres's funeral or the embassy opening in Jerusalem. We here tonight, but also every day that we live at home here in Washington, D.C., we want to speak truth to power without apology, without regret. It's in our heart what we fight for. We know that it's right when we speak up on issues that matter most to us, all of us collectively in this room. Right now, at this time, being in Washington, D.C., it is so critical. With a rising tide of anti-Semitism that we hear about from the stories of our sons, our daughters, our friends, people on college campuses from coast to coast being penalized for being Jewish, for struggling because they want to do a summer internship in Israel, or they oppose the BDS movement and they're being downgraded from their teacher on their essay. We hear these stories from coast to coast of that map that gets put up on the board from multiple professors at the university where it's supposed to say Israel, and instead it says Palestine. It's infiltrated American politics, and as Irene pointed out, it's infiltrated even the halls of Congress. I believe that whenever it manifests itself in any form, that we must speak up to identify it, to confront it, and to crush it. Speaking truth to power without apology or regret means that it can't be empowered, it can't be elevated, it can't be embraced. You can't be silent and just wish it away. It must be confronted. And when you see it double down and triple down with its efforts, we must be emboldened in our heart and in our mind, knowing that what we stand for is right. I believe that it is incredibly important for the House of Representatives to make a strong statement, standing together as unified as possible against the BDS movement in the United States and abroad. I further believe that it's important not only to make a powerful statement, but to also do something about it. When we pass a BDS resolution, hopefully it will come soon. There's a resolution that I co-sponsored, introduced by Congressman Brad Schneider and many of our colleagues. I also see legislation passed by the Senate, S1, that has companion legislation in the House. I would love that too, to see a vote in the halls of the House of Representatives. Over the course of the last couple of years, there have been developments to be concerned about, to be frustrated by, maybe to be fired up with, based off of your style and your passions. But there's also so much to be proud of. Time and again, presidents and presidential candidates promised that if elected, that they would move the embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. But now we have a president who not only fulfilled the promises of presidents and presidential candidates in the past, but most importantly, he did the right thing in moving the embassy in Israel to its rightful capital, what should be the undivided, unquestionable capital of Israel and Jerusalem. We have so much to celebrate: withdrawing from the Iran nuclear deal, recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, signing the Taylor Force Act into law, fighting anti-Semitism at the United Nations. There is so much for us to come together for and be proud of, while we also confront the challenges that are still ahead of us. And just this week, we're sending a letter to Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, to ask him to take action against designated foreign terrorist organizations like Hamas that should not have platforms accounts on that United States company's vital resource. It's a terrorist organization. Sending a letter to the German government and Chancellor Merkel with a great Congressman Ted Deutsch and many other members, encouraging Germany to revisit a recent decision from last week, choosing not to designate the political wing of Hezbollah. We are calling for the German government and many others as well to designate Hezbollah in its entirety as a terrorist organization. We're introducing legislation to better leverage the funding that gets provided to the LAF, to ensure that we're getting results in those who are assuming political positions within the government there. We should be better leveraging United States tax dollars to achieve the best results for United States national security interests. That is all just this week. As Robbie and Stuart were up here and standing here with Sarah, who, as was pointed out, Sarah's been there the entire way. How great is Sarah Stern? She's always there. Not only is she always there, I'm telling you right now, in Washington, D.C., she's also in 7 other places. While she's sitting here, she is everywhere fighting for your beliefs. She's great. To Senator Graham, a great honoree for tonight, and as Robert and Stewie pointed out, Congressman Lamborn as well, the leads of the Taylor Force Act, because United States tax dollars should not be going to a Palestinian authority that's financially rewarding terror and inciting violence. That money should be cut off. And there's nothing for us to be neutral about. When a Palestinian terrorist murders an innocent Israeli, we do not have to accuse both sides of terrorism. When Hamas uses civilians as human shields, there's nothing for us to be neutral about in calling it for what it is. When negotiating with the state of Iran, we don't have to negotiate from a position of weakness, because this is the United States of America, the greatest nation on earth.